And of course, it breaches one of the, the basic principles of taxation, which is certainty, because you don't even know which one is coming tomorrow.
Exactly.
I mean, another local governments, I won't be surprised if tomorrow wards are starting to levy their own taxes. So you have that list that has been on the trajectory of Northeast. It's just been growing. Go and look at the graph from 1999, we came back to democracy. It has only been increasing, it hasn't decreased. And I found something very strange. Every single, legislation that we find now, establishing a new agency, always have the funding part of it, and it is always a form of tax. Instead of for it to strictly just say it shall be appropriated from the, federation account, it's always tying it either to the manufacturers or the oil producers or the service sector. Everybody imposing new taxes. It does not help business. Now, when people are assessing the ease of doing business, they're not just looking at the, the financial cost. They're looking at the stress that comes with compliance in this part of the world. He is a practitioner in practitioner, and I can tell you it's a lot of burden for business owners in Nigeria.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Indeed. We'll leave it there as some for that analysis. And we will return to Mohammed Lawal Abubakar once more. Before now, FIRS was not an agency that was relied upon by government until we had one Ifweko Omoigui Okauru at the point when the reform of FIRS took place. I was privileged to do some documentaries on that reform, and all she did at the National Assembly, to bring back FIRS to where it should be. And since then, we're beginning to see that the FIRS has, of course, blossomed in terms of its operation. Now, in Abuja here, we also have FCTIRS. When we're talking about multiple taxation, for instance, you have a FIRS, the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Now have a FCT Revenue Service. Some persons who do business in Abuja here, some of them pay to FCT IRS, and some pay to the. So let's see where do we have the demarcation, where do you have the divorce between these two, because these are the reasons why we keep having multiple taxation. And in terms of harmonization, what role should you play? Because of course you are the apex tax collection agency in Nigeria. Where would this harmonization come from? How possible is it to harmonize the tax laws to ensure that multiplicity or duplicity or double taxation and all that will be eliminated?
Thank you for that question. In 2004, when Madam Ifeko was appointed as Executive Chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service, the collection then was within the region of 500 to 800 billion naira per annum. We crossed trillion in 2005. We made the first trillion in collection in that 2005, and that shows that the effect of the reform was positive. And she also came in with integration of tax administration. And from area tax offices, we have ITOs, what we call ITO, integrated tax offices. And it's all about harmonization, to have one-stop shop as far as assessment, collection, and accounting for taxes are concerned. Rather than, before then you have value-added tax offices operating separately from the regular income tax or offices. But that reform gave back to what we have today, integration of tax administration. And it also has to do with, talking about harmonization, the effort to harmonize continue from then up to today. And recently we saw the Finance Act 2021 that gave taxing rights to federal inland revenue as far as federal taxes are concerned. That is to say, bringing all collection of these taxes under one umbrella. But how effective that has been is another question. We see agencies on their own trying to introduce some kind of taxes, And it's not just about introduction or collection, but utilization. They've been appropriated for in the budget, yet they collect these taxes, and most time they are to utilize, in their operations. So the question of harmonization, as your questions, the answer to that question is a continuous one, and it's not just by FRS, even at the state level, because as we have observed here, the Federal Inland Revenue Service tax operation is clean to some extent, but going down to state and federal, and local government, that's why you witness.
Sir,
yes.
Just to amplify this, you have Federal Inland Revenue Services, all the states of the Federation.
Yes.
Which tax are they collecting there? Because we also have state IRS.
Yeah.
Like I explained, we have FCT IRS,
yeah,
and then Federal Inland Revenue operating in the federal capital city. You have offices in all the states of Nigeria. Now you are collecting federal tax in states, and states also collecting state tax on the same states, on the same businessmen, on the same society. So I don't know.
The explanation to that has to do probably with the personal income tax. The FCTRS, for example, would administer taxes of the personal income tax in respect of people residents in FCT. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, before the creation of FCT, was collecting taxes, personal income tax in respect of people or individual resident in FCT. So, but with the coming of FCTRS, that task has been shifted to them, and they administer only for residents of Abuja, excluding members of the armed forces and police and officers in the foreign service. So the presence of FRS across the state is to collect taxes that belong to federal government.
How do we know those taxes? That's what Nigerians would like to know.
Company income tax, for example. Company income tax, no state internal revenue service will assess for company income tax. They can only do that for individuals and maybe enterprises that are not limited by liability.
All right, Abubakar, excuse me. Thank you very much there for your explanation. I want to return to Professor Ike Bolodoku. There are a number of issues on the table right now, just like a platter of fruits that we have on our table. Perhaps we can also get you to help us unpack them and why they are so. Olubide Eson raised a very significant point, just like all the other guests have also, and including yourself, raised very significant issues, that there appears now to be almost, I'm trying to get the right adjective for it. Well, there is a drafting technique now in lawmaking at the National Assembly that when you want to create any agency and you are looking for funding, you just insert a clause that funding for this shall be from that. Are we not advising ourselves properly, that's to say the lawmakers, to avoid that because of the impact on multiple taxation and therefore on businesses? Then the multiplicity of taxes that we're talking about at the state level, local governments, and perhaps cross-purposing with the federal government, what has been the role of the Joint Tax Board?
Thank you very much. I think at the end of the day, the Joint Tax Board is actually expected to really infuse some orderliness into the administration of tax laws. Now, and as I said, it depends on the political will to enforce existing laws, to have clear policy of administration, or tax administration, consistently with the tax policy of 2017. Because, paragraph or section 4 of that policy also lays out the approach that we should have to efficient tax administration. Because as someone mentioned, there is an issue of multiple